Tonight, jailed for 9 years, the speeding TikToker who killed a grandmother in a car crash. Lee Sutherland fled the scene and denied being involved. He'd been banned from driving just days before. Also making the headlines, from dream cruise to holiday nightmare, a Scots couple demand compensation after their honeymoon was ruined by a catalogue of errors.
Holiday of a lifetime, and it wasn't. It's just a full shambles from start to finish.
We hear from a survivor who's backing calls for the speedy introduction of non-fatal strangulation as a standalone offence in Scotland to reflect the true gravity of the crime. And in sport, Kyogo's a no-go. Striker won't return to Celtic as he wants to prove himself at Birmingham City. I'm John Mackay. This is the STV News at 6. Good evening. The absolute heart of our family and our community. We miss her every day. That's how the family of Margaret Allen described her as the man who killed her in a car crash was jailed for 9 years. The 77-year-old was driving in Cumbernauld when Lee Sutherland, a fantasist who posed online as a lawyer and police officer, hit her in a car with damaged brakes before fleeing and denying he was involved. He'd been banned from driving just a week before. Ollie Dickinson was in court.
Margaret Allen was driving home on a summer's day in 2023 when she was hit by another vehicle travelling over the speed limit and with a banned driver at the wheel. The driver, Lee Sutherland, was a fantasist who craved social media fame by posting videos claiming to be a lawyer and dressed as a police officer. Today, he was jailed for 9 years for killing Margaret.
Well, today's sentencing brings a measure of justice. We recognise that no outcome can ever bring our mum back. We hope, however, that this conclusion allows us to move forward and bring some sense of closure. Our mum was independent, active and absolute heart of our family and the community. Her loss is immeasurable and we will continue to miss her every day.
A police investigation showed Sutherland's car had defective brakes and the battery wasn't properly fitted. His actions were described as not just a lack of judgment or momentary inattention.
Police officers who carried out subsequent investigations into the state of your car had noticed the problems that there were in the braking systems of the vehicle, and they had indicated that that must have been quite clear to you whilst you were driving that car, and they also made it quite clear that anyone driving in such circumstances should immediately stop the car and seek assistance straight away.
Judge Hughes remarked that this was an offence that had taken place whilst he was driving at excessive speed and that speed had catastrophic consequences, leading to what he described as the tragic loss of a grandmother. His actions, he said, changed the lives of Margaret Allen's family radically and that they had suffered catastrophic loss.
You came up with a cock and bull story, as you now well know. You told the police officers that you had advertised the car for sale. A Romanian man that you could not identify took the vehicle away for a test drive, and whilst that was going on, this unfortunate accident happened. You accepted no responsibility for this whatsoever.
Sutherland was also banned from driving for 13 and a half years. Margaret's family were praised by the judge for their dignity in the face of such loss. Ollie Dickinson, STV News at the High Court in Glasgow.
A couple who spent £5,000 on a Caribbean cruise for what they hoped would be a dream honeymoon say a litany of problems on the ship turned it into a nightmare. Hundreds of passengers from the Morella Discovery are now demanding compensation from the tour operators. Tonight they apologised and said they'd made a goodwill gesture. Here's our senior reporter, Gordon Cree.
Lorna and Darren should be basking in the memories of a special experience. Instead, they're at home in Livingston, picking over an expensive voyage gone wrong.
Half of my expectations would be great. I'm looking forward to this. Holiday of a lifetime, and it wasn't. It was just a full shambles from start to finish.
By halfway through it, I was like, I just want to go home now. I've had enough. It wasn't enjoyable. We did get to meet a lot of nice people and we chatted away to them, but everybody was basically in the same boat.
For their honeymoon, the couple boarded the Morella Discovery on the 2nd of December and were soon told parts of the ship were out of bounds because of overrunning maintenance work.
There was no water in any of the pools. The pools were all empty. There was scaffolding up on the pool deck. We couldn't use this pool deck. The pool bar was closed. They only had one bar open in the atrium during the day. So everybody congregated in the atrium, which meant there was no seats. You had to hunt for a seat. And the amount of people that you couldn't, there was disabled people who couldn't even get a seat.
Lorna is part of a Facebook group where hundreds of other passengers are sharing their concerns, including the water being brown and an overnight fire in a laundry room. There was also a power failure which plunged the ship into darkness.
Yeah, the engineer's now working on the issue. Nothing serious, but it's going to take a couple of hours to rectify.
A planned visit to Antigua, anticipated by the couple as a highlight, was dropped because of the technical work, while docking in the British Virgin Islands was scrapped, citing weather concerns.
I'd like some compensation back, or even their money back, a refund, because it wasn't a trip from hell. They've not carried out what they were meant to carry out.
They haven't fulfilled what we booked. I know that there can be changes because it's a cruise, things happen, weather, etc. But the majority of this was nothing to do with the weather. It was to do with the ship. And my opinion is it shouldn't have sailed.
Tonight, Morella Cruises said it apologised to passengers for this experience and that it had made a gesture of goodwill. I understand that to be a discount voucher for use against a future holiday. Gordon Cree, STV News, Livingston.
Restricting someone's breathing is a chilling form of abuse that often signals escalating violence. It's 1 year since calls were first made for non-fatal strangulation to be made a standalone offence in Scotland. Campaigners believe the pace of progress is too slow and say urgent action is needed to reflect the gravity of the crime. Prosecutors argue the change is not necessary. MSPs have been told a public consultation is to look at whether existing laws go far enough. And a warning, our chief reporter Sharon Frew's report contains details some people may find distressing.
Grace believes her abuser chose his moment to demonstrate ultimate control.
I don't know what I said, I don't know what I did, but he reached over and he put his hands around my neck and he squeezed.
The first time Grace was strangled by her former partner, she was pregnant and driving home from her mother's funeral.
I obviously thought he was going to let go, but he didn't. He kept squeezing to the point where I had to stop the car on the road, and that's the time that he let go.
It happened again at home and then formed a pattern of abuse over a number of years. The police were eventually called for different reasons. A conviction followed.
It's terrifying, and at some point you think, well, if you're going to do it, just do it. Take me out of this hell, because there was only one way it was going to end, in my view, and he was going to end up killing me. When somebody's got a knife in their hands, your life is in their hands. To me, this is the same. There's no difference. It just takes them to hold on for 10 seconds too long, and that's it, you're gone.
Research has found if someone is strangled, they are 8 times more likely to be murdered by the same person. England and Wales made non-fatal strangulation a standalone offence in 2022. Northern Ireland followed a year later. Since the new legislation, there has been a surge in charges. 9 in every 10 were linked to domestic abuse. Statistics have also revealed strangulation or choking during sex has become normalised by pornography and social media. In a recent survey, 43% of sexually active 16 and 17-year-olds said they had experienced it. More than half under the age of 35 gave the same answer.
There's never a day that I don't think about what Emily was subjected to. The psychological harms are significant.
Fiona Drewy believes Scotland should follow the rest of the UK. Her daughter Emily took her own life while at university, days after being choked by an abusive boyfriend. Fiona works with universities and colleges to address gender-based violence. She believes a change in legislation would protect victims.
If there is, on one occasion, non-fatal strangulation in an assault, that would still go through our courts as a common assault, and that's not good enough. So we need to ensure that we bridge and close all the gaps, and I believe the standalone offence would do that.
Fiona's petition before the Scottish Parliament has received cross-party support. MSPs pressed the Justice Secretary on the issue again this week.
Non-fatal strangulation is already criminal in Scotland and can be dealt with using a range of offences, and I do think that is an important message to reiterate. It doesn't mean that minds are closed or that there isn't further action to take forward.
Prosecutors are concerned that a standalone offence could dilute current robust legislation in Scotland and could potentially lead to increased reporting of the crime but less convictions. It is widely agreed greater public awareness is needed. Support groups believe meaningful progress is lacking.
This has become urgent. The amount of victims that we speak to that are disclosing being strangled when they're asked, perhaps at the point of reporting other criminality, or not disclosing it, who are telling us but haven't reported it to police, it feels an urgent situation now.
MSPs were told a public consultation will examine views on this area of law. Campaigners believe delays risk further harms and say the pace of change must accelerate. Sharon Frew, STV News.
If you've been impacted by Sharon's report, more information on gender-based violence can be found at emilytest.org. A man who tried to kill his dad when they met for the first time in prison has been jailed for 8 years. Lee Spence admitted attacking his father with a blade at HMP Perth last July, leaving a wound which needed more than 40 stitches. The assault was described as savage, premeditated and unprovoked in court. A strike by resident doctors in Scotland over pay has been called off. The British Medical Association has suspended the action following a fresh pay offer from the Scottish Government. The union is recommending members accept the 2-year deal, which would see wages rise by more than 8%. The Health Secretary Neil Gray says the deal provides a total investment of £133 million.
Industrial action clearly would have put that progress that we're making our health service at risk, which is why I was engaging in good faith and constructively, intensively with our resident doctor colleagues in order to get to this resolution, which I'm absolutely delighted that we have been able to. It means that strike action is off. It means that our progress that we continue to make in our health service can continue, and I hope that resident doctors accept this deal that's been put forward.
We're recommending it as it represents a significant investment into the contract reform space, to the tune of over £130 million. That will put money in doctors' pockets sooner, allow us to progress up the pay scales and therefore make resident doctors feel valued and keep us in Scotland's NHS.
Roads in Greenock were closed earlier when a bus became engulfed in flames. Emergency services were called to Inverkip Road just before 7 a.m. with the street closed by police. Firefighters tackled the blaze, but a McGill's bus was left completely burnt out. Speed limits and temporary traffic signals have been reinstated on the Rest and Be Thankful. Transport Scotland say the measures will return from Monday as works to improve landslide barriers on the A83 get back underway. They're expected to continue until the summer. Multiple charities in Glasgow are facing significant rent hikes following the scrapping of a symbolic rent agreement. The Wing Hong Chinese elderly group in the north of the city fear being forced to close if they can't raise thousands of pounds. The charity says that would be devastating to the elderly Chinese community that use the centre. Rahim Cham reports.
For several days a week, Anne Chow joins fellow Chinese retirees at the Wing Hong Centre for a game of ping pong. Now in her 70s, she doesn't just play to stay fit, but to stay connected to her community.
By coming here, I see my friends, I talk to my friends, and I interact with other people, and we play ping pong. That's really good exercise, I think. To me, this is vital for our well-being. Personally, I think it's a lifesaver.
The ladies are making arts and crafts for the Chinese New Year.
The Wing Hong Centre is among dozens of charities that previously benefited from a £1 a year peppercorn rent, recognising its community value. However, last year, City Property, the organisation that manages Glasgow City Council's property portfolio, informed the charity that a new lease agreement will be introduced. The centre will pay an annual rent increasing by £1,500 plus VAT each year from year 1 to year 5, rising to £15,000 by year 8 before reaching full market value in years 9 and 10. The charity says it's now seeking donations to help meet the rising cost.
If Wing Hong Chinese Elderly Center closed, many elderly people would lose their main source of support and social contact. Isolation would increase, people's physical and mental health would suffer, and many people would simply have nowhere to go.
Alongside warm meals and a strong sense of belonging, the centre's popular yoga classes are vital for the health and balance of elderly members.
They need this physical health, strengthening the body and flex the joint, and mindfully connected and focused, so that supports their general daily life. Yeah, so they can be more confident on their legs and their feet, and the more focused, the more calm when they're dealing with day-to-day life.
The Wing Hong Centre is one of a number of charities in Glasgow that have been affected by this. It is widely believed that Glasgow City Council aims to raise funds to settle historical equal pay claims. And unfortunately, charities like this are the ones to pay that price. City Property declined an on-camera interview, but said negotiations over the lease renewal are ongoing. The ball is now in the charity's court. Meet the new terms or risk being served with an eviction notice.
That's a good shot.
Raheem Cham, STV News, Garnet Hill.
To sport, and Rahman's back with another honourable attempt at pronunciation with the latest transfer news.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith New Year Sale.
Good evening, I'm not John McKay. Martin O'Neill says it's unlikely Hugo Furuhashi will return to Celtic. The striker wants to prove himself at Birmingham City. O'Neill is determined to add to his squad and says the business done in the January window will be a key factor in determining who wins the league. Meanwhile, across the city at Rangers, they have approached Sunderland inquiring about midfielder Dan Neil and winger Romain Mundle.
Here we go again. And here he goes again. Martin O'Neill back at Celtic for a third spell after saying yes to the club's latest cry for help. While O'Neill is donning the shamrock again, don't expect to see Hugo Furuhashi at Celtic anytime soon. While the champions are keen on a loan deal, the striker isn't.
I would have said that would probably be unlikely. I think that, it would be unlikely. I think there is a viewpoint that he wants to really prove himself at Birmingham, which is no surprise. Hopefully, we'll try and get a few players in. But yeah, there's a lot of work going on at the moment, I think that we're well aware that we have to supplement the squad.
And that's also what Danny Rule is trying to do at Rangers. With Sturmgratz midfielder Tauch Chukwuani and Westlow left-back Roman set to sign for the club, Rangers have inquired about Sunderland duo Dan Neil and Romain Mundle. Rule could be targeting as many as 6 players in this window, but he'll be missing Conor Barron for a few months due to a knee injury.
Conor is a big loss. I think he will be out around 8 to 12 weeks. This is then, we speak about March, April. At the minute, this is football. It's a little bit like, since I'm here, a never-ending story. Always when you have a team together and you try to growing and give them confidence.
And Dujon Sterling will be sidelined for 3 weeks with a muscle issue.
Premiership leaders Hearts are preparing to make an improved bid to sign Ugandan international winger Rogers Matto after an opening offer of around £300,000 was rejected. Matto, who plays for FK Vardur in North Macedonia, has netted 15 goals for his club, and this season that is, and scored 3 times for his country, including one against Nigeria in the Africa Cup of Nations. His boss, David Gray, says their strong recent form won't change anything about his January transfer plans as he aims to strengthen his squad. Sheffield Wednesday striker Bailey Kadamatri is one of a number of players the East Road side are monitoring this month as they aim to build off a run of 3 consecutive league wins. Here's Jamie Borthwick.
They're riding their best run of form of the season, but Hibs are aiming even higher. And a big part of that will be bolstering the squad, with transfer targets already identified, and David Gray keen to get business done.
As the window goes on, you usually, once teams start to move and other things happen, it can have a bit of a knock-on effect. So you definitely need to be on the front foot with these things. But it's not a case of me, because we've had a couple of good results, that we stop thinking what we're doing or think we don't need anything else. As I say, the ambition, as always, is to make sure you finish the window stronger and you try and improve if it can be done, because that's the key, is you always want to try and improve as a group.
The festive period was very good to Hibs, who delivered a statement victory in the Edinburgh Derby and followed up with wins over Aberdeen and Kilmarnock. Next up is high-flying Motherwell at Easter Road tomorrow.
When you have a 9-point week, the way we played, the results we got, it gives the boys confidence, and you can see they're picking up some good results, and they have a decent form as well. So it's going to be a battle, and we're in a good place as well. So it'll be a good fight this weekend. But we just have to go into the game focusing on ourselves and what we could do to hurt them.
Victory would take Hibs above Yen Bertolascu's side into 4th place in the Premiership. Jamie Borthwick, STV Sport.
Smirn boss Stephen Robinson says he is close to adding 2 forwards to his squad. After snapping up free agent Alan Campbell yesterday, the Buddies are targeting more signings. Jonah Yunga, Mark O'Hara and Keanu Bacchus are all sidelined with long-term injuries.
We've obviously got Alan in. We do need forward players in. We already needed one without Jonah's injury, so we're looking to recruit 2 forward players, and we're getting closer to that. Whether that's in time for Saturday, I'm not sure, but we are actively trying to do that at this moment in time.
Well, St Mirren are winless in their last 3 games. They host Falkirk tomorrow. It's second bottom versus bottom as new Kilmarnock manager Neil McCann takes his side to Livingston. Hearts are away to Dundee on Sunday. That's a 2 o'clock kickoff, while Aberdeen against Rangers gets underway at 4:30 on Sunday. And some football news from Falkirk and Livingston. Goalkeeper Scott Bain has signed a contract extension with the Bairns until the summer of 2028, while Scott Arfield has joined Livy on a short-term deal. That's all the sport for me tonight, folks. Have a great weekend.
STV Sport, sponsored by the C.R. Smith New Year Sale.
To the weather now, and Sean, it is winter, I know that, and I know they're getting a lot of snow in parts of the country, but you know, sometimes the nice bright clear days are enjoyable, but how long is this cold going to last?
You already know about my frozen pipes. I've gone on about them all week, and they're still frozen, and a lot of people are just waiting for the thaw now. Well, I do have some good news if you're looking for a bit of a thaw, because, well, yeah, we hang on to this cold air for the time being. Temperatures have just been a few degrees above freezing today. Pretty much the same again tomorrow, but on Sunday we see a big change. We've got some rain coming in, which will fall as snow for a time, but have a look at your temperatures. By the time we get to Monday, some spots could be 9 or 10 degrees Celsius. Let's have a look. Well, it's not just us that have experienced this cold air. Just have a look at the deep, deep shade of blue across Scandinavia, this swirl across Eastern Europe. Extremely cold temperatures, afternoon highs for them in some spots, -10 to -15. Puts our cold a bit more into context. But then we get this little swirl of milder air coming in on Sunday, but that does bring a transition to the warmer air, but also some snow for a time. We'll have a look at the details of that in just a wee second. Now today, today we've seen a little bit of winteriness coming in from the east. It started off on the east coast, and we've seen this little band of rain, sleet and snow drifting its way westwards. So we will see wintry showers around during tonight, particularly across likes of Stirlingshire, inland parts of Argyll and Bute, the Highlands. And temperatures again down to freezing, slightly below. There will be some icy patches around. Lowest temperatures, I'm expecting South Lanarkshire and Dumfries and Galloway maybe to have the clearer skies. So here, locally -5 or -6. So a very cold start to tomorrow, an icy start in places as well. But for most of us, tomorrow it's a fine day. Plenty of dry and sunny weather, apart from Arran, Kintyre, and also across the Hebrides. A few rain and sleet showers around here. But for most of us, it is a dry, bright day. Your afternoon highs, 6 in Isla, Tyree, 7 degrees. But across the mainland, we will be lucky to get above freezing. Let's start off very early on Sunday morning. We see this rain, sleet and snow coming in for all levels. I expect right down even in Glasgow we will see a spell of snow early on Sunday, before at lower levels it starts to turn back to rain through the morning. Then in the afternoon it starts to turn back to rain at higher levels as well. But it takes a lot longer to just shift out that cold air. So if you've got plans to head up on the higher parts of the A82, the A85 or the higher parts of the M74 down into South Lanarkshire, the borders, Dumfries and Galloway, that snow will last a bit longer on Sunday. So some winteriness around on Sunday, but slowly that turning back to rain. And look at the temperatures on Monday. Air could be up to a high of 10 degrees.
Now, the Scottish actor Alan Cumming has been honoured by Hollywood.
We'd like to welcome the 2,832nd star of the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Mr. Alan Cumming!
Cumming has been rewarded with a star for a career on the stage and screen that began 30 years ago with his performance in Hamlet on the West End. The Scot said it was fitting that theatre is at the centre of his star.
If I'm going to be literally, as well as figuratively, a part of Hollywood, I think it's really appropriate that theatre is at the centre of my star. I'm so happy that theatre is a part of this incredible Hollywood honour, and that a little piece of Scotland will be at the centre of right opposite Showgirls forever.
And finally, the icy pavements have many of us slipping and sliding, but for some it's a walk or a waddle in the park. The penguins at Edinburgh Zoo have been out and about, showing us all how to brave the cold conditions. They also took advantage of the chance to catch some snowflakes as they passed. It's the time of year for it. That's it from all of us here. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend. Good night.